fashion world was stunned this weekend to learn about the death of designer Virgil Abloh. He died yesterday following a 2-year private battle with cancer. Abloh was the first Black director of menswear at Louis Vuitton and the creator of his own label, OffWhite. His work touched the world of fashion, art, and culture. And joining us now to talk more about his work and his legacy is Vanessa Kraft, Director of Content Partnerships at TikTok and former Editor-in-Chief at Elle Canada, and Holly Dunbar, Creator and Director of Sidewalk Hustle. We appreciate you both making time. Vanessa, you've been to his shows, to Abloh's shows. What was it like?
I always used to say that his shows, there was the fashion show inside and then there was the fashion show outside. You know, the crowd outside of his shows was so electric and so full of energy and excitement about just being in the presence of, you know, a designer that had such a vision that was so uncompromised. And of course, inside the show, the audience was diverse, very interesting, the crowd watching. I would always get to the shows a little bit early just to soak it all in.
Holly, what was it like to meet Abloh? What was he like?
I met him a couple times actually back in years ago at Contraband in Toronto, before the Yorkville boutique, the OffWhite boutique opened. And then that was just like a DJ set, very informal meeting. And then I met him again at Complex Con in 2016 in Long Beach. And it was kind of an odd meeting. He was very like curt, super nice. I wanted to take his photo. I was kind of like fangirling out. It was a weird moment, but I'll treasure that now.
Is it common to be fangirling, or was that his impact, Holly?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like at that point, his impact in culturally, fashion, music, everything was so huge. And I guess it was kind of unexpected that I would have met him there. It was like the preview hour. So it was like very empty, and meeting him there, you know, kind of at the mecca of where the streetwear, fashion, art, music, culture worlds collided was like, I mean, it was obvious, but also kind of surreal.
Vanessa, we heard the news last night. It's been less than 24 hours, really. How are you digesting the news that he's passed away?
Everyone is reeling, of course, because he was so incredibly important in so many ways. And I think, you know, a lot of the conversations that I've been having with peers, friends, is about the influence that he had and the deep layers of the influence that he had by his approach to luxury, to streetwear, to art. You know, he wasn't formally trained in fashion. He studied engineering and architecture, and he really was an artist who made fashion as opposed to any other way around.
And he held one of the highest positions of leadership in one of the world's biggest fashion houses, right, with Louis Vuitton. Holly, you write about streetwear, sneaker culture at Sidewalk Hustle. So tell us about OffWhite for anyone who doesn't know about that line and what its impact has been.
Yeah, I mean, like it really started back after he finished school in 2019. He founded RSVP Gallery, famously the streetwear shop in Chicago that sort of fused the high fashion and athletic art world with Don C. And then in 2012, he started a brand called Pyrex Vision, which was sold at little shops around LA. You know, famously extremely expensive screen printed shirts with the words Pyrex and 23, which is obviously a nod to Michael Jordan, onto vintage flannels, and sold them for $550 just because he could. And then within that year, he rebranded Pyrex to OffWhite, you know, of course, inspired by deconstructivism, streets of Chicago, club culture, skate culture. You know, he was notoriously chastised for putting jeans and T-shirts on the runway in Paris. You know, he was very subversive in nature. But, you know, his belts, his shirts, his jeans, you know, all those amazing things that he made with industrial materials were iconic in the streetwear world. I mean, I feel like at this point, it's hard to even say the impact that he had, because I feel like it's still, you know, we'll still continue to feel it and carry his legacy on as the years go on. He collaborated with everyone, you know, Evian, Moet, Moncler, Jimmy Choo, famously Nike. That was a huge part of what he did as well. Collaboration was really at the core.
He had such a reach, and he was climbing, right? His career was exploding. Vanessa, do you think about what the world lost when he dies at 41?
Yeah, we lost a lot. We
It's such a
lost,
shame.
yeah, it's the impact is still taking time to set in. It's something that even if you're not in the high fashion world, he still influenced a lot of what you saw around you. He was like making a new blueprint for what streetwear, skatewear, and luxury all means together. And his approach as well often was very inclusive with who he would have at his shows, inviting art students, for example, to when he made his Louis Vuitton debut, which was like a very, very special moment for him and his family and his close friends. Kanye West, for example, was at that show, and they had started working together many years previously. He was the creative director for Kanye West back in the day. So I think that, yeah, we're going to lose a lot because this was also a man who was obsessed with creation. He was obsessed with his vision. He was so singularly focused on it. And when we shot him in Toronto, when he opened his store for Elle, we came into the store, we talked to him, we did an interview. That man was working the entire time. And then after, he went to a dinner, and at the dinner, he just was DJing. Like, he just did not stop. He was surrounded constantly by art and culture, and obsessed with what the future was about. So really a visionary is what we have lost, unfortunately.
Is there an item or a piece, Vanessa, that comes to mind of Virgil Abloh when you think of him?
I immediately think of the quotation marks that surrounded everything that he did. I mean, he had some iconic collaborations and pieces, but my love of what he did was just the subversion of everything. So if you put something in quotes, is it really what you think it is? Like, questioning everything that we do. And there was always a deep sense of irony with his work. When people didn't always agree or love everything he did, which I think is also a real sign of an artist who's trying to push boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Holly, do you think that with his breakthrough, with him to be able to do these unprecedented things, jeans and sneakers on a Paris runway, is there now, with this significant loss, motivation to just blow that up even bigger?
I mean, he famously did say that streetwear is dead, so I'm not really sure what will happen in the next, coming months. We'll see. I think the world has kind of collabed itself to death, and I mean, I'm not saying that he's responsible for that. I mean, some of his collaborations were amazing. Like his Nike collab will go down in history, and I'm sure they actually probably are cooking up a few other collaborations that are still forthcoming. I mean, whether they actually make it out or not, we'll see. But yeah, hard to say.
You don't think there will be another Virgil Abloh?
I hope so. I mean, he was very famous for fostering, and supporting the people around him and raising them up. So I guess you never know who's kind of working in the background, but I don't think anyone can ever, commit to working like he did. I mean, I heard that he worked till his last breath. So it's pretty inspiring.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't even think he would want another Virgil. I think he would want everyone to become their own version of what he was trying to do, and to express themselves and have that freedom to cross boundaries around the rules that they've been told they're supposed to follow in order to be successful in fashion or art or architecture or music. So I think he would be encouraged by, anyone who takes their own lane in anything they do in life.
I love it. Vanessa Kraft, Holly
Absolutely.
Dunbar, thank you both for making time to talk about Virgil Abloh.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.